Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us as we continue our study. Daily devotional here, and the title is Diffuse the Light Throughout the Dark World. And we truly have two choices. We can either shine or we can either shun the light. It's just two things we can do. And this is based on Acts chapter 17 and verse number 23. Where Paul goes into a Greek or Grecian city, and there he starts conversing about God to strangers or to people who were in every sense of the word strangers to God or to the God that he knew. And there it says in Acts 17:23, "As I was passing through and considering the objects of your worship, I even found an altar with this inscription, to the unknown God. Therefore, the one whom you worship without knowing, him I proclaim to you." Interesting aspect, worshiping someone without knowing. It's really an interesting chapter. When you do have time, take a look and see the amazing beauty that's in this chapter, Acts 17. Reading the devotion, it says, Jesus taught his followers that they were debtors both to the Jews and to the Greeks, to the wise and to the unwise, and gave them to understand that race distinction, caste, and lines of division made by human beings were not approved of heaven, and were not to have influence in the work of disseminating the gospel. So the word of God cannot be bound. The gospel is not be bound. It transcends all divisions, transcends all race, transcends all ranks that are established by humans. The gospel has to go to every person. It has to go to everyone. The disciples of Christ were not to make distinctions between their neighbors and their enemies. It even goes deeper. You shouldn't even distinguish between neighbor and enemy when it comes to gospel. But they were to regard every person as a neighbor who needed help. And they were to look upon the world as their field of labor, seeking to save the lost. So every person is your neighbor. Everybody needs your help. Jesus has given to both men and women their work, taking them from the narrow circle which their selfishness has prescribed, annihilating territorial lines and all artificial distinctions of society. He marks off no limited boundary for missionary zeal, but bids his followers extend their labors to the uttermost parts of the earth. The field of labor presents one vast community of human beings who are in darkness of error, who are filled with longing, who are praying to one they know not. They need to hear the voice of those who are laborers together with God, saying to them, as Paul said to the Athenians, "Whom therefore ye ignorantly worship, whom therefore ye ignorantly worship, him declare I unto you." The members of the Church of Christ are to be faithful workers in the great harvest field. They are to be diligently working and earnestly praying, making progress and diffusing light amid the moral darkness of the world. For are not the angels of heaven imparting to them divine inspiration? They are never to think of, and much less to speak of, failure in their work. They are to be filled with hope, knowing that they do not rely upon human ability or upon finite resources, but upon the promised divine aid, the ministry of heavenly agencies who are pledged to open the way before them. Angels of God will break the way before us, preparing hearts for the gospel message, and the promised power will accompany the laborer, and the glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. The Review and Herald, October 30th, 1894. Thank you so much for listening to this devotional. I hope that by listening to this, you are encouraged to go out and diffuse the light instead of being part of darkness. Thank you so much. God bless you, and see you tomorrow for another devotion of the day.